Welcome back. We're really glad you're here with us as we get into a pretty profound exploration today.
We are. Our focus is on the essay that's called What Am I?
And this piece it's just so significant.
It's the final essay in part 2 of the workbook. So it's positioned, right at the threshold before those final lessons really begin.
So if you've been following along with the workbook, part 2 has been this really sustained period of reflection and daily mental practice.
Right.
And this essay isn't here to introduce some brand new idea that we now have to tackle. It's more like a declaration.
Yeah, it is. It names and affirms where all that prior work of, forgiveness and correcting our perception has been leading us this whole time. It's like a destination marker.
It really feels like the moment where the training wheels start to come off.
I think so too. We've been using all these lessons to kind of chip away at the obstacles to the awareness of love's presence. And now the course just gives us this unvarnished statement of who or maybe what we really are when those obstacles are finally set aside.
And that recognition, the one that comes through the practice of forgiveness, that's what the entire journey has been about.
Just hearing the words in their context lets you sort of feel their weight before we start to unpack what they mean for the practice.
So as you listen, maybe just try to let the words land. Try not to, analyze them right away, but just see what resonates or maybe what causes some resistance in your own mind.
And then we'll spend the rest of our time exploring the profound shift this essay really signals for the practice going forward.
Okay, so what am I? I am God's son, complete and healed and whole, shining in a reflection of his love. In me is his creation sanctified and guaranteed eternal life. In me is love perfected, fear impossible, and joy established without opposite. I am the holy home of God himself. I am the heaven where his love resides. I am his holy sinlessness itself, for in my purity abides his own.
Our use for words is almost over now. Yet in the final days of this 1 year we gave to God together, you and I, we found a single purpose that we shared. And thus you joined with me, so what I am are you as well. The truth of what we are is not for words to speak of nor describe, yet we can realize our function here, and words can speak of this and teach it too if we exemplify the words in us.
We are the bringers of salvation. We accept our part as saviors of the world, which through our joint forgiveness is redeemed. And this, our gift, is therefore given us. We look on everyone as brother and perceive all things as kindly and as good. We do not seek a function that is past the gate of heaven. Knowledge will return when we have done our part. We are concerned only with giving welcome to the truth.
Ours are the eyes through which Christ's vision sees a world redeemed from every thought of sin. Ours are the ears that hear the voice for God proclaim the world as sinless. Ours the minds that join together as we bless the world. And from the oneness that we have attained, we call to all our brothers, asking them to share our peace and consummate our joy.
We are the holy messengers of God who speak for him, and carrying his word to everyone whom he has sent to us, we learn that it is written on our hearts, and thus our minds are changed about the end for which we came and which we seek to serve. We bring glad tidings to the Son of God who thought he suffered. Now is he redeemed, and as he sees the gate of heaven stand open before him, he will enter in and disappear into the heart of God.
Wow. Even just reading it again?
Yeah.
I think we have to begin with the title itself. What am I? Because for so many of us, I think when we first see that, our mind just automatically swaps in the word who.
Oh, absolutely. I know I misread it as who am I for a time. And it's such an easy mistake to make because, who am I is the question the world is constantly asking us to answer.
Constantly. But when you finally realize the profound difference between asking who and asking what, the entire orientation just shifts. Well, asking who am I, that inherently ties your identity to something personal, right?
Yeah.
Something temporary.
The contingent things. It focuses on your history, the roles we all play.
Parent, friend.
Your moods, your opinions, your political views, all of that stuff that's in a constant state of flux.
Right. And the mind feels this compulsion to defend that who.
Oh, yeah. If I define myself as, say, a patient person, and then I lose my temper, Suddenly my who feels threatened, and I have to immediately go into justification or guilt.
Exactly. The answer to who am I can change hour by hour, you know? It depends on the last thing you did or believed about yourself. It's always conditional.
Always.
But the what am I question, it forces you to completely drop that personal historical story.
It's not asking about the body or the ego or all the experiences you've piled up.
No, it demands a definition of what's changeless, the essence. It's asking about the single underlying reality that's always the same, no matter what seems to be happening on the outside.
So the moment we really engage with what am I, we're moving our mind away from that endless, vulnerable search for external validation. Because if I define myself by my achievements, well, that definition is always vulnerable to failure or loss or just someone else achieving more.
Right. And the Course is gently and, well, sometimes not so gently, guiding us toward a substance that is beyond all those temporary definitions.
You can really see how the ego resists to this.
Oh, absolutely. The ego is obsessed with being a unique who. It wants a personal story. It wants a specific history. It wants unique suffering or unique talent that defines it as separate.
So to ask, what am I, is to look for the shared reality.
The common ground, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what the ego is terrified of.
So this shift from the individual who to the shared what, it's really at the core of the whole teaching. Because if I am something that is shared, I can't be separate. And if I'm something that never changes, I can't be threatened by time. It feels like this intellectual leap that eventually results in a deep, deep sense of relief.
It relieves the mind of that exhausting job of trying to find stability where there is no stability. I mean, we spend so much mental energy trying to construct a who that's strong enough or smart enough or good enough.
The mind is pointed to the source of being that always endures without any effort from us.
Yeah. And this might sound like some, abstract metaphysical idea, but it has immediate practical consequences.
How so?
Well, think about a moment of intense self-criticism or self-doubt. That moment where you ask, who am I to think I deserve this? The Course just redirects you. It says, stop defining the character in the play. Look at the foundation of your being. What are you fundamentally?
And the essay gives the answer. It just shuts down the argument before it can even start.
You are the holy, whole, and complete Son of God. The who is the question mark. The what? The what is the certainty.
And that leads right into the sheer power of how this essay is structured. It doesn't try to reason its way to this conclusion, does it? It doesn't offer a 20-page proof or some defense for why we are God's son.
No, it just declares what is true. It's a statement of fact, not an argument to be won.
It's like the mind just saying, enough.
Yeah, and the timing is perfect. The lessons before this have spent so much time training the mind to question its own basic assumptions. Questioning judgment, separation, the reality of the body.
All that really rigorous practice was just preparation.
It was preparation for the mind to be receptive enough to hear this declaration without immediately attacking it.
The earlier parts of the workbook gave us tools for mental correction. We were actively doing things to shift our perception. But here, that active, kind of intense effort to define truth or to build a better self, it just ends.
We stop trying to build an identity.
And we just remember it.
We remember it. And that contrast is so important. If the Course had said, this is what you are on day one.
The ego mind would have grabbed it instantly.
Right. It would have turned it into a concept, I am a holy child of God, and then used that concept to judge others or judge the past or to prove how special it is. Trying to define what I am with the intellect, trying to force a definition, would just make the truth manageable by the ego. The ego loves managing concepts.
It loves defining boundaries.
It thrives on it. But the truth of our being, as the Course teaches, is boundless. It's definition-proof. It has to be accepted as an experience, not like a theorem in geometry.
So the only way to receive a definition of the truth is when it comes as a declaration that stands outside of our need to defend it or prove it to anyone.
Yeah. We accept it as a description of what's already present, regardless of what our physical senses or our current mood seems to be telling us.
Okay, the essay says, I am God's son, complete and healed and whole, shining in the reflection of his love. Let's talk about the resistance here, because I think a lot of us reading this for the first time feel a real dissonance.
The Course explains that the experience of lack is a statement about our current perception.
So it's about that layer of blocks we've chosen to put over the truth.
Exactly. So the completeness is a present fact. It's not a future goal to be achieved.
Okay, that's huge.
It totally eliminates the idea of spiritual progress as some kind of linear achievement where you earn holiness points.
Right.
If you are already whole, then the process of the workbook is simply the removal of the belief that you are not whole. The wholeness itself doesn't require any effort. It's just waiting to be recognized.
Let's look at the language it uses to locate this identity. It calls us the holy home of God himself and the heaven where his love resides. I mean, that is a massive statement about where holiness is actually found.
It completely internalizes it, doesn't it? It just dispels that whole notion that we have to go on some external pilgrimage or perform a special ritual or reach some distant place to find the presence of God.
If we are the home of God, then holiness is located right inside the mind itself. If heaven isn't some distant reward, but the changeless state of my own mind, then I'm always home. The search for a goal outside of me stops, and the entire focus just shifts to clearing the inner clutter that convinces me I've left.
And this is a radical redefinition of who is doing the searching. If God's love resides within me, then the part of my mind that is still searching outside must be looking for an illusion.
Because it's already where it needs to be.
Exactly. The search itself becomes the mechanism that hides the truth.
And then we get to what feels like the climax of that whole declaration.
Yeah.
I am his holy sinlessness itself, for in my purity abides his own.
It's a declaration of sinlessness. The Course really emphasizes that purity isn't earned. It is the foundation of our being.
Which is why our vision, what the essay later calls Christ's vision, can rest on that certainty.
Right. We can't see purity in the world until we accept that purity is what we are.
It feels like the only logical conclusion to a path that has just relentlessly trained us away from guilt.
It is.
The final realization of forgiveness has to be the acceptance that there was nothing to forgive in the first place, because the sin never touched the what that we are.
Exactly. So once that identity is accepted in this absolute changeless sense, the mind can't really focus on defending or improving itself anymore. From what I am to what I do, and this is the transition to function, which the essay defines as our shared purpose.
Right, and we've been trained throughout the workbook that salvation is never a solo project. It's not something I achieve for myself, by myself.
Never.
And the essay confirms this by saying, we accept our part as the bringers of salvation and saviors of the world.
Okay, now that phrase, saviors of the world, that often triggers a lot of resistance.
Oh yeah, it can sound incredibly arrogant, like we're appointing ourselves as spiritual masters or something.
It can, but we have to understand this function strictly within the way the Course thinks about these things. The world is redeemed through our joint forgiveness. Salvation, in the Course, is the undoing of the belief in separation.
Right, we believe we're all these separate individuals in separate bodies.
And when I look out and I judge you, I'm just confirming the reality of that separation. And at the same time, I'm locking guilt into my own mind.
Because the belief in a guilty brother requires guilty mind to see him. I can't see sin in you unless I believe sin is real. And if sin is real, then I must be subject to it too.
So salvation has to be a cooperative, unified mental process, a joint forgiveness.
So by forgiving the world, I'm just acknowledging that my interests and your interests are actually the same.
Yes, because we share the same reality, the same what. And when that belief in unity replaces the belief in separation, the illusory world of separation is redeemed.
So accepting the role of saviors just means accepting our function in this unified mental correction. We're not saving the world from, like, physical destruction. We're saving the world from our own judgment of it.
And in that process, we receive our own gift. And this, our gift, is therefore given us. The moment we extend forgiveness jointly, we realize we are free. We can't grant forgiveness without receiving the realization of our own sinlessness. The giving and receiving are simultaneous because they're happening in the same unified mind.
In the messy reality of daily life, people still seem to be behaving badly.
Well, the essay gives us two clear guidelines for that. We look on everyone as brother and perceive all things as kindly and as good.
That's the practical mandate then.
It is. It means we look past the specific form of the error. We look past the behavior, the actions, the things we feel aggrieved by, and we see the underlying sinless brother.
And to perceive all things as kindly and as good, that feels like the necessary outcome of recognizing that shared sinlessness. It means we've successfully taken back our projections of fear and hostility from the world.
Right. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about changing the judgment we apply to them. A difficult situation might still need some action, but if I look past the specific form of the error,
Then your response comes from a place of peace, not fear.
and this also prevents the function from becoming overwhelming, we're reminded we do not seek a function that is past the gate of heaven. We're not supposed to be striving for some grand mystical understanding of God or the cosmos. Our function is right here.
In the realm of perception.
Yes, which brings up that really important distinction between knowledge and function. The Course is very specific here.
It says, knowledge will return when we have done our part. We are concerned only with giving welcome to the truth.
Knowledge, in this context, is that unified, non-dual, timeless state of heaven. It's the certainty of our identity in God. It's the state that's beyond perception, where no words or concepts are even needed.
And we can't actively strive for it while we're still seeing a world of separate forms.
Because knowledge undoes all separation. The two can't coexist.
Our function is the task we're given to do within the dream of separation. It's the correction mechanism, which is forgiveness, that prepares the mind.
Precisely. Our function is to welcome truth into the mind through correct perception. We prepare the space. We correct the errors. Knowledge, the actual final total realization, is a gift that just returns naturally when the mind is ready. We can't force it. We can only welcome it by doing our part.
By practicing forgiveness.
Yeah.
Once we accept our identity and our function, the focus then shifts to how we express all this. And the essay makes it clear that our expression is teaching, but that teaching is perception. It says, ours are the eyes through which Christ's vision sees a world redeemed from every thought of sin.
It's a beautiful line. It just merges the mind and the senses so perfectly. It's not saying that our physical eyes will suddenly see a brand new physical world.
Right.
It's saying that Christ's vision, the Holy Spirit's correction, sees through our purified perception. The world's forms haven't changed, but the world has been redeemed because our thought about it has completely shifted.
It's a world redeemed from every thought of sin. So the transformation happens 100% inside the mind.
All of it. In the decision to see the world as sinless. If I decide the world is sinless, then the eyes of Christ look through me and confirm that decision. The miracle has already happened.
And this happens through joining. Ours, the minds that join together as we bless the world.
That joining is the source of the peace that then gets extended. It's why the workbook is so insistent that our true interests are always shared. When we bless the world, we're blessing the joint mind that perceives it.
This gives us a completely different way of understanding what it means to be a teacher. It's not about being an expert or knowing all the quotes or being able to give a lecture on the course principles.
Teaching here is fundamentally about perception. It's defined entirely by how we see other people. The absence of judgment, that vision of sinlessness, that clarity is the lesson being communicated, and it's independent of any words we might speak.
It's a huge relief for a student. I mean, it removes the pressure that some of us feel to always have a spiritual answer or to try and convince other people of what we believe.
Right. Or to be overtly spiritual in every conversation. The Course is saying, you teach what you are. If you accept the declaration of what am I as true, then the only thing you can communicate is that truth.
So teaching becomes this silent demonstration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Achieved through inner clarity and the complete stopping of any internal attack or judgment against our brother.
Okay, let's ground this a little. Say I'm dealing with someone who has severely disappointed me, and it's triggering that old desire to punish or withdraw. If I try to teach them about forgiveness by lecturing them on spiritual principles, that's just my ego teaching. So what does perceptual teaching look like in that moment?
Perceptual teaching is the internal decision to use your vision to see past their error to their shared sinlessness. It means recognizing that the anger or disappointment I feel is just a reflection of an unmet expectation I was holding in my own mind.
And that the brother is innocent of the role I assigned to them.
Exactly. The teaching is done in the internal release of the demand that they be different.
The teaching isn't what I say to them, but the state of peace I hold for them no matter what they do.
That vision is what the essay calls the oneness that we have attained. And from that state of oneness, the mind extends peace naturally. We call to all our brothers, asking them to share our peace. It's no longer being blocked by our judgment.
If I'm truly peaceful, I don't have to announce it. That state of peace is the compelling invitation that calls to others to join in that shared reality. It's really the highest form of communication.
And this essay, because of where it's placed at the end of part 2, marks a really profound shift in the whole feel of the practice as we move toward the final lessons.
Yeah. If you look back, the earlier lessons were so structured, often very prescriptive.
Take this idea, apply it 5 times today, look at the situation and name the people involved.
Right. There was a clear sense of being led step by step. You could, check the box.
And now the tone changes. The repetition of the key concepts, forgiveness, peace, identity, that's all still central, but the instructional part of it really lessens. The course just assumes that the foundational structure of mind correction has been set.
And for the student who really thrives on that structure and clear markers of achievement, this transition can be unsettling.
It can. The course seems to stop giving you that minute-by-minute direction, and the question that comes up is, okay, so what exactly am I supposed to do now?
And that discomfort comes up because the mind is being trained away from a focus on doing to a focus on seeing.
Yes. Forgiveness is still the core mechanism, but it's not really framed as a method of self-improvement anymore. It's not a way to fix the faulty who.
It's just the way vision clears itself. The natural process of removing the mental blocks that hide the truth that's declared in what am I.
And so the mental focus shifts. It moves from the past or the future. How do I fix myself? What external steps do I have to take to finally be good or whole?
To this intense presence. How am I seeing this moment right now? Am I projecting guilt onto this person or this situation, or am I welcoming the truth that I'm complete and they are my brother?
The effort shifts from change to vigilance. It becomes this unwavering observation of the self as the one who perceives. Are we using this moment to reinforce separation and guilt, or are we using it to welcome the certainty of our identity?
And, the manifestation of this mental shift can be so easy to miss if we're still looking for big, dramatic, external signs of spiritual progress.
It shows up very quietly. The external events still happen. The disappointments, the conflicts, the physical discomfort, but the emotional reaction, that feeling of being personally injured, it lessens.
There's less need to turn every experience into a personal story that defines us and limits us.
Right. That's a fascinating shift, isn't it? If I stop believing that the external event is happening to the character I call me, the who, then the event loses its power to define me as a victim or a villain.
The personal story, the ego's narrative, just starts to crumble because the source of its material has been rejected.
Exactly. This essay isn't a progress report. It doesn't promise specific future outcomes or external rewards. It just gives us the unchanging statement, this is what you are. The rest of the final practice is just the observation of how our mind resists or accepts that declaration moment by moment.
The essay culminates so beautifully by describing the role of the messenger. We bring glad tidings to the Son of God who thought he suffered. And that one word, thought, that's the key to everything.
It confirms that the suffering was never a reality of what we are. It was an illusion that was sustained by the belief in separation. The messenger's job is done when the illusion is recognized as just that.
And the final entrance is described as the Son of God, seeing the gate of heaven stand open before him, and then he will enter in and disappear to the heart of God.
The he there, it seems to represent that separate identity, the individual self that started the journey, sought improvement, and felt all that guilt.
That is precisely what disappears. It's the end of the separate identity. The self that sought mastery, the self that needed rules and guidance, the self that felt guilty or separate. That self has recognized its own illusory nature.
Yeah, it can't be brought into heaven because it never existed in truth.
So the disappearance isn't a loss. It's the final realization that the who was never real, leaving only the what, that certainty of completeness that was there the whole time.
And that's the goal, the return to certainty.
The beauty of that description is how it emphasizes the effortlessness of the final realization. There's no struggle to get through the gate.
It just stands open. The only condition is seeing the illusion of suffering for what it is, and then the return is inevitable and total.
So today we've journeyed through What Am I, which is really the defining essay at the close of part 2 of the workbook. We spent a lot of time on that distinction between asking who we are and asking what we are.
And recognizing that asking what is really the only way to discover a stable, changeless identity in the Course.
We also explored how this essay signals just a profound shift in the feel of the practice itself. The effort moves away from external instruction and self-improvement
to inner vigilance and the loving repetition of truth. The focus moves entirely to how perception is being used in this very moment, and that serves as the welcome mat for the return of knowledge.
So as the final lessons of the workbook begin, this essay is meant to serve not as a concept to be analyzed, but as a reference point for the mind to keep coming back to.
It's the definition of the truth that is present right now, just awaiting our welcome.
We'll leave you with this thought to consider until our next exploration. If your identity is already complete and whole, and fear is truly impossible, what are you waiting for in this moment to fully accept that declaration?
Thank you for joining us for this exploration of the workbook. If you want to share a reaction or something you're noticing, you can email ACIM at theworldharmonyproject.org.
We will see you next time.